Hey guys, Al DeMarco here, and this is going to be your Monday video report. I'll get to your 3 free selections and all the good stuff in just a moment. But listen, have you read about or have you seen what happened following yesterday's men's college basketball game between Nebraska and Iowa when Nebraska's head coach Tim Miles went off on his team? Listen, the Cornhuskers played a horrific game yesterday in Lincoln. They got demolished by Iowa 74-46, and that game wasn't even that close. Trust me on that one, okay? But after the game, Miles, and this is an exact quote, he said his team half-assed it out there. And then he went on further and he said his offense looked so bad it would look like the Bad News Bears. Another exact quote. So after the game, he had this 12-minute press conference where he went a little crazy. And the result of it was this. He announced that he was barring his team from the locker room and the lounge. It was barricaded. It was off limits. He didn't care where the players were going to get dressed. He didn't care where the players were going to shower. Gone. Out of the locker room, out of the lounge after the game because of their effort. Now, Mr. Miles, who I don't know personally, obviously, afterwards he said, and this is another quote, "You never want to throw your players under the bus." Let me think about that. So instead, you threw them under the tractor trailer and asked the guy, "Hey, back up and do it again." Were you crazy? You go on this post-game tirade. You bar your players from the locker room and from the lounge. Now, granted, I will admit that the lounge sounded pretty damn good. Apparently, at the Hendricks Training Complex, multiple big screen TVs, a pool table. Smoothie bar, because listen, every lounge needs a smoothie bar, right? Leather lounge chairs and heated towel racks and iPod shower plugins. What can I tell you? It's the luxury edition of the athletic complex, I guess, for the Big Red. But they're barred from there. Now, here's the problem I have with that, okay? You don't want to throw your players under the bus, but of course, this is a story that was picked up nationally yesterday. It was on TV, it's on radio, it's the point of discussion. Hell, I'm talking about it on my video report today. But you didn't want to throw your players under the bus. Here's the problem I have with it. These are not professional athletes. Listen, if you're making a minimum $450,000 a year and your coach wants to treat you like a bunch of morons, then go ahead. That's the prerogative. You're a paid athlete. I don't care that these are kids on college scholarships. These are 17 to 21-year-olds. They are kids. And what amazes me is Miles' actions yesterday. He's not the first and he won't be the last coach to do it. Listen, I think it's almost like the military. Bottom line is, kids from when they brought up from playing Pony League ball, bitty basketball, AAU ball, it's almost like a military regime. There's the general, and you better march in step or you're not going to be part of that team. And of course, where do the coaches get it? Because they were raised under that same regime and regimented tactics. It's like a never-ending story. It just keeps on. The wheel keeps on turning, spitting these little junior generals out. Problem is, America's youth has changed. There was that little thing called Woodstock. Then there was like the Vietnam War. Then there were drugs. Then there was iPods. They're all related one way or another. This isn't the 50s anymore where everybody says, "Yes, sir. Let me get that crew cut and I'm going to follow your orders right up that hill." This isn't the 60s anymore. Today's kids, yeah, they're brought up in that regimented society coming up, but they just tune you out. That's the bottom line. Does anybody think these tactics work? It's like the football coaches that'll pull off the names on the back of the uniforms until you earn it. You don't deserve it. You have to earn it back. The right to be shown that you're playing for XYU. Wasn't it Tom Izzo a couple of years ago that made his team dress outside of the locker room before and after games as a way of punishment? And that's what it is. To me, it's more than that, though. It's punishment. To me, it's a form of hazing. I know it's probably not going to be popular that I say it, but that's what I feel it is. It is a form of hazing. Listen, when you don't want sororities and fraternities to be doing any type of hazing, when you don't want teams, players to have any type of hazing rituals, which is, listen, I'm totally against it anyway, then you shouldn't allow coaches to do this crap either. Woody Hayes is dead. Bobby Knight might as well be. He's just an old curmudgeon. His ways went out of the world a long, long time ago. I wonder if Tim Miles is actually thinking about how this is going to play for future recruiting classes. He says he's done similar stuff like this in the past at different coaching stops, and he gave some examples of it, etc., which I'm not going to waste my time getting into. But if you're a recruit out there, and let's face it, if you're a basketball player, are you just pining to go to the University of Nebraska? Gee, I got to go to Lincoln to spend the next 4 years play basketball. I just don't think so. I mean, it's not exactly a basketball hotbed, okay? Lately, it hasn't been a football hotbed either. But the fact is, aren't you going to be sitting there going, do I really want to play for a nut job like this? Now, the next nut job may not be any better. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors because most times coaches don't throw their players under the bus. Oh, I'm sorry. Tim Miles didn't do that. If he had done that, it would have been longer than a 12-minute press conference that was picked up nationally on TV. No. So I just don't get it. I mean, times have changed. And to me, listen, I would never put up with crap like that. I wouldn't let my son ever put up with crap like that. I mean, then again, I have a short fuse. Actually, that's about my fuse, okay? And I think a lot of the kids just let it go in one ear and out the other. But it's not going to stop. It's going to continue on. I think they play Ohio State next. Does he really think this team's going to come out and give it all they've got and beat Ohio State? I hope the Buckeyes win by 40, okay? I hope they just pound Nebraska into submission. These tactics don't work. You never see these tactics don't work. Short term, maybe they have some type of effect, but perhaps Tim Miles has to look in a mirror here today and say, God, I recruited these guys. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I didn't recruit the right blend. Maybe I, because of changing my lineups, don't have the right chemistry out there. Maybe it's my offensive system that is the issue. Tim Miles has a job to protect. These kids are just pieces of the puzzle. They're disposable. Let's face it. Are they going to go into the NBA? Are they going to play overseas? Most of these kids are disposable, and that's a sad fact, but that's the reality of college sports. But again, if you're going to act like the little dictator, do it in the pros where you're getting paid to be, listening to that BS from the coaches. And listen, do the pros always listen to it? Ask Allen Iverson if he always listened to Larry Brown. Need I say anything more? But again, I just thought it was Bush League yesterday by Nebraska. By the way, I was looking to see at newspaper sites, different sports sites, how the comments were running. And I was kind of surprised that it was about 50-50 in support of Miles and then others in support of the kids. I happened to be on ESPN's site, and under the story regarding this whole situation, there was one commenter from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, had a wonderful line, and I have to pass this on to you. Wonder if Miles' wife locks him out of the bedroom after a poor performance. Boom, boom, boom. Couldn't have said it better myself. Anyway, guys, this is going to be your Monday video report. Let me talk to you about a guy that was more pissed off than Tim Miles was yesterday, more pissed off than any Nebraska basketball players were yesterday, and that is Matt Rivers, because yesterday Rivers had another blank check wave the rating game of the year play, and he was going for his third winner in 3 days, the sixth ever such play in the NBA, and he had the Portland Trailblazers, and you got it for half price. And of course, he hit with Indiana over Philadelphia on Friday night. He cashed in on Saturday with one in college basketball when he gave you LSU over Florida. And Portland last night was his big play. That game started at 9 o'clock Eastern time, right? An hour before the game, the Trailblazers announced that LaMarcus Aldridge is not going to play. He went through morning shoot-arounds. He was okay, but his thumb was starting to bother him, so he's not going to play. It's not like they had another all-star to put in place of Aldridge in the lineup, okay? It's not like they had a bench, which is among the thinnest and least productive in the league. They could turn to somebody and say, hey, go in there and replace LaMarcus and get us his 24 points and 18 rebounds. Doesn't happen that way. So Portland, actually had a lead of double digits in the second half and up in the fourth quarter until Memphis went on a big run late in the game to close it out for the win, and obviously outright as a dog, and Matt Rivers lost. Now, he was pissed. I can't repeat what he texted me last night, okay? Cannot say that here on. This might be a family video report. I couldn't even put I'd have to have a lot of bleeps in there. But the fact is, as handicappers and as gamblers, you can't handicap turnovers in football. And sometimes late-breaking injury news will screw you. That did not deter Matt Rivers, because today he came back, and I thought it was kind of cute how he said it, his bounce-back blowout game of the year. It's not only backing a team that's coming off a loss that will bounce back with a double-digit win, but he will as well. It's another blank check, wave the rating game, number 23 out of 33 in his 12-year career, and only the 7th ever such play he's had in the NBA, period. And you're going to get it just like the past 3 days for half price. But here's the difference. This is going to be the most inexpensive half price play of the day release in terms of a blank check, waive the rating play from Matt Rivers ever. And you've gotten 20 of those winners at half price at least over the past 6 months. And this one's the cheapest of them all. Use coupon code HALF, HALF, as it goes for winner number 28 out of 43 overall. Also today, charity play of the week, Anthony Red. 8-1 overall the past 8 days. NBA total winner number 9 out of 11 and 6th in a row. T-Wolves Rockets over under. He's made $10 bettors in basketball over 14 grand the past 3 years. Hell, over the past 5 weeks, he's made those same $10 bettors over $6,400. It's a $99 play. You get it for free by using coupon code FREE. As for me, yesterday I took a split here on the free plays. I won with Oakland. Of course, I always win with the Horizon League, it seems. Lost with LaSalle. But more importantly, I told you that yesterday I re-released a play that was snowed out on Saturday night. Earlier on Saturday, I hit a 15-dime play, my highest rated normal play in college basketball, with Davidson hammering Fordham as I expected they would. And then my nighttime play was James Madison against College of Charleston. And it was a 5-dime play on Saturday night. But after analyzing the Sunday basketball card, I told you that I still thought it was the best game on Saturday, or on Sundays too. So I doubled the rating up to a 10-dime play, and James Madison won. Well, today I've got a top-rated 15-dime college basketball winner number 13 out of 17, line differential mismatch of the year. And what I mean by that is I think that Vegas has made a mistake and undervalued this favorite by 3 to 4 points as I go for winning day number 25 out of 40. And you can get it for $24, saving $75 off the regular price by using coupon code 15DIMER, 15DIMER, no space between 15 and the word dimer, 15DIMER. Once again, all your promos, all that kind of good stuff over on the homepage. Let's get to the complimentary plays. College basketball tonight. I'm going to go with Kansas, and I admit that it could be a trap game at Kansas State for a number of reasons. Listen, didn't LaSalle look like the lock of all locks yesterday at St. Louis, a Billikens team that had lost 12 out of 14, and they lost in overtime? But there's a couple of intangibles here involving Kansas. First of all, well, the line has dropped from 6.5 down to 5. Most places here as I do this video report. Jayhawks coming off an 81-72 win at home against TCU after losing by 1 point last Monday at West Virginia. Kansas State, I just went against them, telling you that I hate Bruce Weber as a coach. I never think he gets enough out of his talent. Went against them on Saturday, giving you a free pay on Baylor. And down in Waco, the Bears demolished Kansas State on Saturday. The final score was 69-42. Fewest points Kansas State has scored since 2001. Shot 38% from the field in the game, 1 for 16 from three-point land. They've lost 7 of their last 8 games overall. They've only scored more than 59 points once in that 8-game stretch. They lost the first game in Lawrence, 68-57, and it wasn't even that close. They were down 33-17 at halftime in that game, even though their 2 best players, Gibson and Foster, had 19 points apiece. I got to go with Kansas at the reduced price here after all. Even though they lost their last road game, even though they lost last year in Manhattan in overtime, I just think that this is a cheap price, and you got to go with the Jayhawks. And again, it could be a trap, but, team has won 49 of the last 53 meetings here in the Sunflower State showdown on basketball. NBA action. I'm going to take a shot with the Chicago Bulls minus the 7.5 points at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. Bulls 1-1 since the break. Lost their first game by 9 at Detroit, then beat Phoenix 112-107 on Saturday night. Marked the return of Mike Dunleavy, who had 15 points in 28 minutes off the bench. This is pretty much the healthiest the Bulls have been in quite a while. They're 2-0 in the season series, and Pau Gasol has just been unstoppable. In the last meeting, he had a career-high 46 points along with 18 boards. In the first win, 22 points, 14 rebounds. Bucks are coming off a 97-86 home loss to Atlanta last night. So they're playing the second of back-to-back, and it's on the road. Listen, that score was not that close because they were down by 16 points in the second quarter. They did come back to take a 1-point lead midway through the third, but then the Hawks started the fourth quarter, I think like on a 24-7 run, and put the game away to snap Milwaukee's 7-game home winning streak. The Bulls have won 15 of the last 18 meetings. Listen, meaning the Bucks, they got rid of Brandon Knight, right? They brought in Michael Carter-Williams, who I don't think has played yet for them and has been out for a while with a sprained toe. Whether he plays or not is inconsequential. Did you see who they started in the backcourt last night? Chris Middleton and Gerald Bayless. Well, they're going to go against Derrick Rose and Jimmy Butler. Boom. I'm on the Bulls tonight, minus the 7.5 points. Another game that has dropped from 8.5 and 8 down to 7.5, even 7 in some places. The final play, I'm going to go with Philadelphia plus the 11.5 at Miami. Listen, the Sixers this season just haven't shown any quit. No matter that their roster's been like a turnstile all season long. They just don't quit. Last night, they were down by like a dozen points in the fourth quarter at Orlando, and they came back and made a game of it, losing 103-98. Have they lost 9 straight games on the road? Do they have a new point guard playing just a second game? Yes, they do. But I like the way they played last night. Showed a lot of heart. Showed the ability to hit some outside shots. Hit 13 3-pointers. That's the second most they've hit all season long. You know, he lost Chris Bosh. I mean, they go out and get Gordon from Phoenix, and then they lose Chris Bosh. Yuck. Doesn't exactly inspire you there. I mean, listen, first game without Bosh was Saturday night, and they lost to the New Orleans Pelicans? Isn't that awful? I had a brain freeze there. Yeah, they lost to the Pelicans. 105-91. Anthony Davis hurt in the first quarter. Ryan Anderson hurt in the second quarter. Jrue Holiday didn't even play. 3 best players on that team. And they got hammered in that game. I just think 11.5 points is too much, so I'm going to grab the points with Philly. So, again, Philadelphia plus the 11.5, Chicago minus the 7 to 7.5, and Kansas minus the 5. Those are your 3 free plays for Monday. Good luck, everybody, and I'll catch you again Tuesday when we do this one more time.